systems. Low, many, too many. Alarms hit. Sea-skimming missiles ride the waves. Drones swarm in behind. The strike group braces. Missiles launch. Guns spin up. The first hits are seconds away. And then, something no one expects changes everything. 05.14 hours. You want answers. You want truth. Like this video? Subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay to the end. You will learn the key move that saved the carrier, the system that broke the ambush, and the reason it shocked the world. The sea was calm. The air was cool. The task force moved in a steady line. The mission was simple on paper. Keep the sea lanes open. Show the flag. Challenge no one. Threaten no one. The rules were tight. The time was dawn. The place was a narrow belt of ocean that matters to the whole world. Oil moves here. Food moves here. Data moves here. Both sides watched each other for weeks. Both sides probed. Radars blinked. Satellites passed. Drones circled high. Each day felt the same, until this one. At the center sat the carrier, a floating city, about 190 feet long, over 100,000 tons, steel, fuel, and flight deck. 2 nuclear reactors pushed it past 30 knots. It could move faster than it looked. The air wing was the hard fist. 60-plus aircraft, depending on the day. Strike fighters, electronic attack jets, early warning planes, helicopters. The carrier had one job: launch and recover. Keep air power in the sky, day or night. Everything else in the group existed to protect that job. Around the carrier moved the screen. Arleigh Burke destroyers took the edges. Each carried the Aegis system. Aegis is a brain for battle. It tracks many targets at once. It talks to missiles and guns in the same breath. On newer ships, the radar was SPY-6. On others, SPY-1. Both could see far. Both could guide interceptors to a kill. A cruiser sometimes joined the line. It added more missiles and another deep radar picture. A fast support ship fed fuel, food, and ordnance. Below the surface, a quiet attack submarine shadowed the formation. It hunted other subs. It listened for hostile screws. It waited for a chance to bite. The air picture started before dawn. An E-2D Hawkeye already orbited on station. The Hawkeye is the fleet's high eye. Its radar sees beyond the horizon. It links every ship and jet into one network. The Navy calls this CEC, the Cooperative Engagement Capability. In simple terms, if one sensor sees, all shooters can act. Fighters fly combat air patrol in lazy ovals. They carry missiles for far kills. They protect the group from bombers and drones. An EA-18G Growler orbits as well. It is the noisemaker. It jams hostile radars and links. It blinds. It confuses. It creates delay. Delay saves lives. Standard dawn posture looked routine. The deck crews did pre-flight checks. Ordnance teams loaded smart weapons with care. Fuel lines pumped JP-5. Crash and salvage crews stood ready near the island. Below decks, damage control teams checked hoses and foam systems. The carrier's medical team ran drills. On the destroyers, vertical launch system cells were set to a mixed load. SM-2 or SM-6 for long shots, ESSM for medium shots, RAM and CRAM for knife fight range. Phalanx guns guarded the last 100 yards. Decoys like Nolka sat ready to spoof seekers. The plan was a layered shield. The outer ring used fighters. The mid-ring used guided missiles. The inner ring used guns and quick interceptors. The idea was simple: shoot, check, shoot again. Intelligence painted the threat board. The opponent had shore batteries that could fire sea-skimming cruise missiles. They had mobile launchers that could shift position after a shot. They had small corvettes that hugged the coast. They had swarms of drones, cheap and many. Some loitered, some scouted, some carried small warheads. They might try to saturate defenses, low cost, high numbers. They might also try a ballistic-like shot, a fast arc that drops late and dives hard. That kind of threat cuts reaction time. Sensors and doctrine must adapt in seconds. Rules of engagement were strict. No one wanted the first shot by mistake. Unknown tracks had to be classified. Friendly, neutral, hostile. Identification, friend or foe, or IFF helps, but it is not perfect. Adversaries can spoof codes. They can mask emitters. They can ride close to friendly or neutral traffic. They can go low. They can go quiet. The fleet balanced EMCON, or emissions control, against awareness. If you go quiet, the enemy sees less, but you also see less. If you radiate, you see more, but the enemy can target the beam. The answer is a dance. Short, smart bursts, off-axis receivers, shared tracks over secure links. Always check, then fire. The timeline crept toward crisis in small steps. 10 days earlier, a satellite picked up a burst of activity near a coastal drone port. 8 days earlier, a fishing fleet moved out of season. 5 days earlier, a relay ship with an autonomous hull loitered near a shipping lane. 3 days earlier, jamming tried to smear GPS in a narrow arc. None of these alone meant war. Together they formed a pattern. The staff wrote notes. The commander adjusted the screen. He pushed destroyers wider. He shifted the Hawkeye track. He authorized more cap cycles at dawn and dusk. He told the submarine to hold closer on the flank. The crews felt the tension in small ways. More checks, fewer smiles, coffee cups left half full. The strike group kept pace. The carrier stayed on schedule. Fighters launched and recovered on time. The bridge logged each contact. The Combat Information Center tracked dots that came and went. The air plan looked busy, but normal. Everyone knew the truth. Normal can flip in a minute. There was one more layer: law and public eyes. The task force sailed under open law. It did not cross the line. It did not enter closed zones. It called out warnings on guard channels. It stayed predictable, but not easy. It moved with discipline. It trained to absorb a first blow and still fight. This was not theory. It was the carrier way. Preserve the flight deck. Keep the air wing alive. Protect the shield. Then, if needed, strike back hard and fast. T-15 minutes. The first hints are small. The E-2D crew sees faint dots beyond the radar horizon. The returns look thin and jumpy. Low radar cross-section. That means small drones or stealthy shapes. The Growler reports odd noise on a data link band. It could be DRFM jamming. That is a method that records a radar pulse and sends it back with a delay to confuse range and speed. The cap fighters tighten their oval track. The destroyer captains shift to a higher alert state. CIC teams mark the faint dots and assign track numbers. Nothing is hostile yet. But the pattern is wrong for weather. It is wrong for birds. It is wrong for routine. T-12 minutes. The picture fills in. More returns appear at staggered heights. Some are at 200 feet, some at 500 feet. That low altitude hides them behind the curve of the Earth until late. A picket destroyer gets the first clean lock. The contact speed is slow, under 120 knots, likely drones. The commander orders Cap to push out and sanitize. Sanitize means clear the sky in a sector. 2 fighters split. They carry radar missiles for medium range and heat-seeking missiles for close in. The group raises the alert level across the board. The carrier stays steady into the wind. Flight ops continue, but crews move faster. T-10 minutes. The number of returns jumps. The link lights up with new tracks. A swarm is coming in from the north-northwest, 50 or more. Some have small warheads. Some are only scouts. But all force decisions. Weapons have to be picked for each target. Each shot uses time and magazine depth. The destroyers begin to assign interceptors. The plan is to kill cheap threats with cheaper shots if possible. But cheap shots are not always ready. RAM and CRAM have short reach. ESSM has more reach but costs more. Cap goes to guns and short-range missiles to thin the flock before it mixes with friendly tracks. T-08 minutes. The first intercepts start. A fighter splashes 3 drones with short bursts and a heat seeker. Another kills 2 more with a radar missile guided by the E-2D. The Growler throws a blanket of noise at a suspected control link. Several drones wobble and drop, but as the outer layer fights the swarm, a second group appears on a different bearing. The new tracks are faster. Speeds near Mach 0.85, altitudes at 15 to 30 feet above the waves. These are sea-skimming cruise missiles. They use the sea to mask their approach. Time to impact shrinks fast. T06 minutes. Aegis shifts priorities. The long-range picture narrows to the fast movers. SM-2 and SM-6 batteries get firing solutions. The first salvo leaves the VLS cells with a hard push. Missiles climb, tip, and drive toward mid-course guidance points. ESSM shooters queue up for the second volley. The carrier's inner ring arms ram launchers and checks phalanx alignment. Decoy launchers stand by with Nulka. Nulka floats and emits signals to lure inbound seekers away. Every second now matters. The commander issues a weapons-free order on the sea skimmers. That means shoot when ready within guidelines. T05 minutes. The first SM-2s meet the sea skimmers beyond the picket line. Some kills are clean. Some are near misses that still break the seeker lock. But a few missiles slip through gaps in geometry and clutter. ESSM takes the next cut. More kills. The swarm of drones complicates the radar picture. Targets blend and split. Track continuity is hard when jamming and sea clutter mix. Cap has to hold fire for a moment. A friendly track blinks wrong on Link 16 due to spoofing in the band. The E2D crew cross-checks with independent IFF and voice. The friendly mark is restored. The fighters turn back in. T03 minutes. The first debris falls near the escorts. Shrapnel rattles steel. A drone detonates early under jamming stress. The second wave of sea skimmers fans wide. They arrive from 3 bearings at once. One destroyer fires a third salvo. Another flips to shoot-look-shoot doctrine, which means fire one, assess, then fire again. The Growler focuses on terminal seekers. It floods the band used by active radar seekers and tries to break their final lock. Some seekers bite on noise, others hold firm. The carrier adjusts course 2 degrees to keep wind over deck and bias the threat sector toward the strongest defenses. T02 minutes. A new track appears, high and fast. It arcs like a ballistic missile, but the numbers do not fit. The climb rate and glide phase suggest a quasi-ballistic vehicle or a decoy bus. It could carry multiple small gliders or decoys. The Aegis computer's model impacts. The timeline is tight. SM-6 is the right shooter for high-altitude, fast targets. A cruiser assigns 2 SM-6 in a ripple. The first seeks the body. The second is insurance. The Cappy pulls away to avoid blue-on-blue. The E2D provides last-second updates. The first SM-6 hits. The high track breaks into fragments. Radar shows small objects falling, some with control. 2 are real gliders, not decoys. They dive steep. ESSM batteries retask. 1 glider dies. The other loses energy and impacts the sea short. T01 minute. The inner ring wakes up. Ram fires. C-ram fires. Phalanx spins. The sky becomes a hard math problem at close range. A sea skimmer breaks through the last ESSM gate and heads for the carrier at under 30 feet altitude. Nulka floats and sings. The missile veers toward the decoy and overshoots. Another missile dives at a destroyer. It detonates near the bow, above the waterline. The blast scars the superstructure. Sensors go black for seconds, then reboot on backups. Damage control starts at once. No hull breach, no flooding. T00. A near miss shakes the carrier. Fragments pepper the flight deck. 2 aircraft take minor damage. A crew cart flips. Fire crews move and smother a small fuel flash. The runway is clear again in minutes. The bridge reports the ship is steady, speed 22 knots, course held. The last inbound tracks fade. The radio net goes from shouting to clipped reports. The first wave ends. T+05 minutes. Silence hangs for a breath. Then a single contact pops up on a merchant route. It squawks a civil code. It looks like a small autonomous drone ship used for cargo. Its track data is odd. It held station through the fight. It transmitted weak bursts when the swarms moved. Intelligence flags it. A patrol aircraft pulls long-range sensors onto it. The pattern fits a relay node or launch rack hidden in a civilian shell. The picture clicks. The enemy used the sea lane as a cloak. They hid the hand inside normal traffic. The ambush was not just missiles and drones, it was deception at scale. The fleet now knows where to look. This fight was about layers. Outer, middle, inner. Each layer had a job. Each layer bought seconds. Seconds saved ships. The outer layer began with the E-2D Hawkeye. It is the high eye. Its radar sits in a dome. From altitude, it sees far beyond the curve of the Earth. At 25,000 feet, its radar line of sight can reach hundreds of miles in clear air. That early look gives time. It pushes tracks over Link 16 and the Cooperative Engagement Network. In plain words, one radar can feed many shooters. A fighter can fire at a target it cannot see, using someone else's eyes. That is the core of NIFC-CA, or Naval Integrated Fire Control, counter-air. It makes the group one brain. The middle layer lived on the escorts. Aegis is the system that ties sensors, computers, and weapons. Newer ships use SPY-6 radars with better sensitivity and more digital beams. Older ships use SPY-1, still very capable. These radars find and track many objects at once. They maintain track files even in clutter. They guide interceptors by command in mid-course, then hand off to the missile zone seeker near the end. The main long-range interceptors are SM-2 and SM-6. SM-2 handles high and fast air-breathing threats. SM-6 is more flexible. It can kill high, low, and fast, even some ballistic-like targets in terminal phase. For the mid-range, the ships use ESSM, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile. It is quick off the rail and agile. It is built to swat sea skimmers before they break inside the last ring. Magazine depth matters. An Arleigh Burke has about 90 to 96 vertical launch system cells. A cruiser has about 122. But cells hold many types: air defense, land attack, anti-submarine. Loadouts are a trade. In a swarm fight, you feel that math. The inner layer is close and violent. RAM and CRAM are short-range missiles designed to kill what slips through. They react fast. They look at the heat or radar energy from the threat and home in. Phalanx is the last-ditch gun. It fires a stream of 20mm rounds at very close range. It is loud. It is brutal. It is not Plan A. Decoys add a soft kill option. Nulka is an active decoy that lifts on a rocket and hangs in the air. It emits a fake ship signal. Many seekers go to the brighter lure. Chaff and flares can add confusion. Soft kill is cheap compared to a hard kill missile. It stretches the magazine. Sea-skimming cruise missiles are built to shave reaction time. At 15 to 30 feet above the water, radar sees them late because of the horizon. Speed around Mach 0.8 to 0.9 means roughly 500 knots. A missile at that speed crosses 20 nautical miles in under 2.5 minutes. That is the window for detection, track, decide, and shoot. If the first shot misses, you need shoot, look, shoot. That means fire, check, fire again if needed. Timing is tight. Geometry is tight. The ship's own motion can add or subtract seconds based on aspect. Presenting the strongest sector matters. The high track in this fight acted like a ballistic profile, but was not pure ballistic. Quasi-ballistic or boost glide weapons climb fast, then glide or dive. They can maneuver. That makes prediction harder. SM-6 is matched to this space because it has speed, range, and an active seeker for the endgame. The right call was to ripple two, one to break the body, one to catch survivors. The radar then must sort debris from live gliders. That is where ESSM came back in. It cleaned up what had energy left. Electronic warfare was a silent player. DRFM jamming takes the ship's radar pulse, records it, and sends a changed copy back. Range gates jump. Speed numbers smear. False targets bloom. The answer is agility. Change waveforms, hop frequencies. Use multiple radars in different bands. Cross-check with passive receivers that only listen. The EA-18G can jam links that control drones and can also throw noise into the radar seeker's bands. If a seeker loses lock in the last mile, it often goes dumb. Even a small delay can push the miss distance wide. Soft kill here equals hard survival. Data links make or break the picture. Link 16 shares tracks in a common format. CEC fuses raw sensor data, but links can be spoofed. They can be jammed. In this ambush, a friendly track flashed wrong for seconds. That is why crews train confirmed chains. IFF codes, voice checks, and geometry checks reduce fratricide risk. The lesson is clear. Never trust one input when the sky is full and the clock is fast. Magazine math drives tactics. A drone might cost thousands. An interceptor can cost in the hundreds of thousands or more. That cost exchange favors the attacker if you fire a gold bullet at a cheap toy every time. The fix is a mix. Use fighters with guns and short-range shots for drones when safe. Use RAM or CRAM where possible. Use decoys to pull seekers. Save SM-class missiles for the high-value, high-speed threats. Rotate shooters so no single ship runs dry in one sector. Manage reloads with the support ship and helicopters for small stores.